In Africa, more than half of lion cubs die before they reach 2 years old. This is the story of two young lion brothers, Prince and Ziggy, whose only chance of survival truly depends on their devoted and caring mother. But this is just the beginning of the story. When ruthless male rivals and dangerous and deadly animals such as powerful buffalo and massive hippos, with crocodiles around too, even a single wrong step could be their last. Want to know what happens to these two brothers? Stay with us until the end of the video as we enter the wild world of lions and witness a true story. It's truly breathtaking. Lions are well known in these feline lands, but even these big cats are gradually heading toward extinction. In fact, with the destruction of Africa's incredible nature, the lion population has nearly halved over the past 20 years. That's why the survival of every cub is truly important, just like these two young brothers, Prince and Ziggy. But things aren't going their way at all. Last year, Prince and Ziggy faced what was perhaps the greatest and most terrifying danger that any young lion cub can ever experience in the wild, a pride takeover. When the dominant and much stronger male lions took control of their pride, the two brothers had no choice but to run away for their own safety, because there was no adult male lion in their group to protect them from harm. Now, all these two young brothers have left in the world is their loving mother and two caring aunts to look after them and keep them safe. But things are about to get even tougher for them. During the harsh dry season, water becomes extremely scarce, and when the river eventually dries up, lion prides are forced to live much closer together, increasing competition and tension among the groups. The cub's mother, Rosa, has to find a way to keep these two cubs safe in that situation. She has to keep them alive through the first 2 years, which are the toughest years in any lion cub's life, until they reach adulthood. It's now May, and the hot, scorching dry season in Zambia has just begun. This is South Luangwa National Park in Zambia, a park of about 9,000 square kilometers, full of Africa's most famous animals, from iconic giants to expert hunters. But among all these animals, there's only one king. The lion, king of the plains and forests, sits at the top of the food chain. And it has no natural predators in its environment. But a lion's incredible strength isn't just because of its powerful muzzles and sharp teeth. Its real power comes from its family. These two young brothers, Prince and Ziggy, are currently living right on the very edge, because during attacks by invading males who want to take over the pride, most of the cubs are tragically killed in a brutal and merciless purge. It's only so the new males can mate with the females and continue their own bloodline. Prince and Ziggy's brothers and sisters weren't so lucky either. They didn't make it and were killed. That was when their mother and a few other females escaped with their cubs. Prince and Ziggy still have at least another year, possibly even a bit longer, before they can truly take care of themselves without any help. That's exactly why they still really need their mother to look after them and provide guidance. Actually, all lion cubs, including Prince and Ziggy, are born with spots on their bodies, which helps them camouflage much better in the wild and stay safe from predators. But for Prince and Ziggy, that's not always enough to keep them completely protected, because they're going to have to live in Africa, in a place where about 80% of cubs die before they reach 2 years old, especially since the 3 males who killed their siblings are still living nearby. These 3 males are a closely united coalition, and because of their strange, wild-looking, and rather distinctive manes, people call them by a special name. They're known as the Punks. And honestly, both Prince and Ziggy were really quite lucky to survive that terrible massacre. In short, lions are known to have the strongest and most remarkable social bonds among all the big cats. The adult lions work together to raise the cubs and protect them from any potential danger. But for the young cubs, life is still extremely tough. They're vulnerable. If accidents or injuries don't kill them, there are plenty of enemies waiting to hunt them. So the cubs have to learn survival skills really fast. Of course, the level of independence and maturity in newborn cubs in the Luangwa Valley is very different. For example, a baby antelope can start running just an hour after it's born. But for a lion cub, it takes about a month just to reach that level of ability. On the other hand, animals that are born more developed end up with brains that stay small compared to their bodies, because their brains don't grow much after birth. But animals that are born helpless, even though they need a lot of care at first. But a longer learning period allows their brains to develop in a much more effective way, significantly over time. But Prince and Ziggy don't just have to watch out for male lions, who might attack and kill them. They also have to stay extremely alert and pay close attention to everything happening around them at all times. The elephant is the largest land animal, and if a young lion cub gets too close, it could very easily be crushed under the elephant's massive, heavy feet. The hippopotamus is also one of the most aggressive animals. If a lion cub gets close to its territory, it will attack without hesitation. That's why Prince and Ziggy always stick very close to their caring mother and protective aunts for safety and protection. Now, in the middle of all this, there's a new challenge too. Prince and Ziggy's mother and aunts simply can't handle several invading males on their own. That's exactly why the cub's mother comes up with a new and clever plan to protect her young children. She decides to go and seek additional support from the punks, hoping for help. This move is extremely dangerous and unusual. Prince and Ziggy aren't the punks' cubs, so with this move, it's entirely possible that Rosa is putting her cubs in certain death. The punks are resting in the thicket when Rosa and her cubs approach. The risk is really high. When it comes to their cubs, lions become extremely aggressive, getting close to the punk pride. This could be the start of a fight that Rosa is guaranteed to lose. She knows very well that the punks are the same ones who defeated Prince and Ziggy's father last year, so there's a very high chance that they will attack the cubs, unless Rosa can somehow manage to win over the males. In just a few moments, everything could be hanging by a razor-thin line between life and death. The dominant male of the punks has his ears pulled back and is in a fully aggressive stance. He doesn't look welcoming at all. Rosa puts herself between the male and her cubs. She has to act very cleverly to control this strong and powerful male. The strange thing is that scientists have only recently discovered that the brains of female lions are different from those of males. Rosa's brain, too, has evolved as a female lion's brain, for planning, controlling the other party's behavior, and even deception. That's why she has to distract the male. Suddenly, she starts flirting, as if she's ready to mate. She presents herself to him, then takes on a completely submissive posture. The male's desire to mate is very strong, and Rosa is she slowly circles around the male. Such direct, bold, and face-to-face deception is very rarely seen in the wild. The other lionesses are clearly not happy about this situation at all. Seeing a stranger female getting the male's attention has really made them feel extremely jealous. And, well, when the punks get angry, they quickly put someone in their place. That's why perhaps the next ones to get hurt in the near future might also be Prince or Ziggy. It's time for Rosa to retreat, so she gathers her cubs and heads to a more public place. Rosa's plan. For now, she has to fall back. But while Rosa and the cubs are holed up somewhere, the punks are on the move. The rival pride's powerful lionesses have successfully taken down a large, formidable buffalo. It's a significant kill that can easily feed the entire pride. The punks hear the commotion of the hunt and quickly head toward the lionesses. The lionesses, exhausted and weary after their challenging hunt, have to retreat, giving the persistent punks a valuable chance to catch up at the feast. Well, like I said before, when there's plenty of water, the lion prides are spread out. But in the dry season, all the animals gather around the river, and because of that, the lion's territories overlap and things get tense. It's like a boiling pot of tension, and the hotter it gets, the more intense the turmoil becomes. In fact, when the dry season reaches its peak, a large part of the land turns to dust. Around the remaining water holes, everyone is tense and aggressive, and predators face off against other predators. All summer long, the sisters, meaning Prince and Ziggy's aunts, have been working tirelessly, doing everything they can to try to keep the cubs alive and well. In another 6 months, Prince and Ziggy will finally be big enough to take care of themselves, but for now, at this stage, they still need a lot of help and support from their family. Rosa is still hoping to get her cubs into the punk pride, so their chances of survival will be higher. That's why she decides to try again to join them, and this time with the help of her loyal sisters. Prince and Ziggy are watching from a distance as the rejected lionesses, that is, their mother and aunts, try to get close to the 3 punk males. But this isn't just ordinary flirting, it's a deceptive mating. In lion behavior studies, deceptive mating is a clever and strategic tactic that female lions use in order to control the behavior of the males. This type of mating is brief, but it can happen repeatedly, because its purpose is to change and control the male's behavior, not just reproduction. Prince and Ziggy quietly sneak closer to their target, but unfortunately, they get caught very quickly. One of the aunts puts herself between the male and the cubs. Every time the cubs are in any kind of danger or face a threat to their safety, one of the aunts will usually start mating in order to distract the male. Night falls and this quietly deceptive mating ritual continues on. Prince and Ziggy also stay close, but these females are really indeed determined. Lions can mate up to 4 times an hour for 4 days straight. This repetition process initiates and triggers ovulation in the female and significantly increases the chances of pregnancy. "18 hours after mating, with the first light of sunrise, it seems that the females have finally succeeded in their efforts. Rosa now feels confident that the cubs are truly safe with the punks. But this trust is misplaced, and this very mistake is going to get her cubs into trouble. The punk family shows up. 3 lionesses who are the mothers of the punk pride's 7 young cubs. The dominant female of the group doesn't hide her hostility when she sees Prince and Ziggy and attacks them. Prince runs away for a moment, but Ziggy freezes on the spot and gets beaten up. Then Prince ends up alone in a corner, right in the sight of the aggressive female. Suddenly, the dominant male of the punks steps forward for no apparent reason and protects Prince. Maybe Rosa's efforts have paid off. This chance allows Prince to grab his life and escape. Injured and terrified, he gets as far away as he can, with Rosa following behind him. And this leaves Ziggy all alone. Now Ziggy is in real danger, but one of the loyal and caring aunts tries to gently calm the situation and carefully move the cub away from harm. Then the angry attacking lioness charges again. This time she goes after one of the aunts. When the dust rises, Ziggy gets a chance to escape, but he gets lost on the plain. Now, he's not just in danger from the attacking lions, who could show up at any moment and take his life without warning. He also has to constantly watch out for hyenas and crocodiles, which are lurking everywhere around him. This is the very first time in Ziggy's life that he's been without his mother, his aunts, and his brother, all alone in the wild. But as night falls, Ziggy isn't quite so alone anymore. There are more than 6,000 Hitlos. They live in the Luwagwa. Hippos usually stay very close to the water during the hot daylight hours, but at night they come out onto the land to feed on grass and other vegetation. The instinct of hippos is that lions are always a threat to them in every possible way. That is exactly why Ziggy tries his best to stay as quiet as possible, so he does not attract the hippo's attention. His only hope now is to find and reunite with his family again. But there's still no sign of them. Ziggy is now facing the longest and most difficult night of his life. Dawn. It's the busiest time in the animal world. Those who are active at night are returning, and the others set out before the heat intensifies. Ziggy should move to a safer place, but he's frozen with fear and can't move. About 1.5 miles away, Rosa and one of the punk males are searching for the missing cubs. It's true that she followed Prince, but now she doesn't know where any of them are, and Rosa still hasn't found any of her cubs. But when she enters a thicket, it's as if a familiar scent catches her attention. The male with her lags behind, and Rosa is drawn toward a dirt slope. It's Prince, but he's dead. Rosa's attempt to have her cubs accepted has failed. Rosa stays close to Prince's body, and meanwhile Ziggy, her last remaining cub, has to spend another night alone. At any given moment, his fate could easily turn out just like his brothers did, and now his once secret hiding place is no longer safe either. Ziggy's chances of surviving all the way into the very end of the dry season are getting slimmer and slimmer by the hour. It's been 6 hours since Prince's body was found, and Rosa is still standing by his side. They say when a cub dies, the mother lioness experiences severe stress. But if Ziggy is to survive, Rosa has to let go and move on. She needs to find Ziggy. Night follows. Rosa continues to mourn, but by the next day, she sets out again. For hours, she follows their old paths and resting spots. Ziggy is still very young. He can't hunt, nor can he survive 4 days without food. Without his mother, even if he doesn't get caught by wild predators, he'll die of hunger. Finally, it seems Rosa picks up a familiar scent again. She follows the trail into a thicket, but has Ziggy met the same fate as his brother? When Rosa gets closer, she sees she's not the only one who's been looking for Ziggy. Her sister is there too, like an angel, a savior. Ziggy is in relatively good shape. All three of them set off together. Tired but happy. Rosa and one of her loyal, supportive aunts have once again found themselves separated from the rest of the punk group and have been left behind. However, with their continued help and encouragement, this time Ziggy is finally on the right path, even without his brother by his side. And in just a few months, he will be able to confidently stand on his own 2 feet. For now, his family is looking out for each other, and things are slowly getting better. The weather has changed, and the long dry season has finally ended, so the heavy pressure of this difficult period is now easing, and the animals are once again spreading out across the vast open plains. In just this 1 year, Ziggy was cast out, witnessed the tragic death of his siblings, was beaten, and ultimately lost his beloved brother Prince. He even spent 2 long nights alone in the dense thicket. But despite all of this, he survived the dry season and will reach adulthood by the next season. He can take care of himself and gradually follow in the footsteps of the kings of Luangwa, and one day become a leader himself, become the head of his own pride. Now that we've heard this fascinating story, I think it really shows how even in the wildest and most unpredictable conditions, family can become the greatest chance and source of hope in life. What do you think about this incredible story? In your opinion, what do you believe played the biggest role in Ziggy's survival? Was it the strength of family bonds, sheer luck, or perhaps something else? We would love to hear your thoughts and perspectives in the comments below. Please take a moment to write it down and join the conversation. But this story also teaches us that life, even for the king of the plains and the jungle, is never easy. Survival actually depends on intelligence, courage, the unity of a supportive family, and a little bit of luck.